Good morning, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit more life related. I had a conversation with a good friend yesterday, and it kind of resurfaced something that I haven't necessarily, here recently anyway, readily thought about. And I thought that it would make an interesting topic for me to discuss with y'all. So I'll start off by asking you guys a question. Do any of you have an area in your life that you would like to improve, but don't necessarily know how to sustain change in that area? And ultimately you end up by falling back into old patterns. If that's the case, what I want to share with you guys is what I have come to realize. Our habits create patterns in our life. And one of the things that I learned from the book, The Power of the Habit by Charles Duhigg, is just how big a part our subconscious mind actually plays in our everyday living. I think that ultimately when we hear the word subconscious, we like to think, or how we relate to that word, is that that's like the back burner part of our brain that is not prominent in making decisions and choices and things like that. But after reading The Power of the Habit, I learned just how prominent a role the subconscious mind plays in our life. So I want to define for you real quick the subconscious. It's the part of our mind that's not fully aware, but which influences one's actions and feelings. Actions kind of goes back to patterns and repetitive behaviors, our daily habits. And feelings kind of goes back to like our early formed relation to things, like how we've been conditioned to relate to everything around us. And a lot of times that comes from beliefs that are formed clear from the moment that we're born at birth to up to like age 6 and beyond. Now, when we're talking about our beliefs, we have external beliefs for everything around us, and we also have internalized beliefs. For the external beliefs, it's things that we're taught and influenced by other people around us, like don't steal, be a good person, those kinds of things. And that's how we relate to external things. And then internalized beliefs are things that we learn. Again, we're influenced by the people around us, but ultimately also too, it's our choice. And as far as how we internalize those things. So like as an example, a kid who grows up with an abusive parent, they may learn from that scenario and watching that situation, I could never be in a relationship with a person like that. Or for the kid who gets bullied and teased, I'm never enough, or I'll never be enough. For the person that seeks companionship and gets rejected, they may have a fear of rejection. The person that tries something and fails and internalizes that as, I'm scared to fail because it hurts. We get these preconditioned beliefs about things, whether it's internal, external, whatever. And so going back to when you have an issue in your life that you're wanting to improve or change, or it's something that's cyclical that keeps coming around and around, and you might temporarily correct it, you might temporarily tackle it, but ultimately it still keeps revisiting you. So how do you so my advice is to tap into your subconscious mind, become through practicing more awareness and things that help you develop that sense of awareness. And when you do that, you'll start to see that you're able to create sustainable change when you become more aware of what your habitual behaviors are and acknowledge just how big a playing factor that the subconscious mind plays. I'll say one of the key indicators that someone is lacking awareness of their subconscious is someone who has feelings of frustration or anger and doesn't understand why. They don't really understand where those feelings are coming from or why they feel so angry. They just know that something bothers them and they don't know why. Or the people that want change but feel hopeless because they feel like everything they've tried just hasn't worked, or they don't really know where to start or how to get there. That's another good indicator that someone is lacking awareness of their subconscious. And I'll say, when you do develop an awareness of the subconscious, you will find that you will gain a sense of harmony and peace, like a kind of symbiosis from within. And one of the things I want to share with you in regards to that is a really good quote that I came across from the minimalist. It says, excuse me, if your actions don't align with your values, meaning what is important to you, you will continue to experience a chasm of discontent. So if you're not living a life that aligns with the things that are important to you, if you're constantly living a life based off of what you think you're supposed to be for everyone else, you're going to struggle with that sense of discontent. And in order to tap into figuring out what your real values are, what are your true motivating factors, what are the things that are actually really, truly important to you, you have to develop that sense of awareness. And part of the awareness comes from understanding just how big a role your subconscious mind plays. Your subconscious is your feelings, it's your daily habitual behaviors, it's all of that. And actually, an interesting thing is there's a study that was done by neuroscientists at Harvard Business School that found that 95% of everything we do comes from the subconscious mind, which means that 5% is actually conscious. So like for me, I know I'd like to think that I would start my day and go about my day making conscious decisions. But in reality, most of my day is spent in subconscious mode. And the reason for that is because your brain's survival mechanism is to conserve its energy. It wants to conserve its energy for the important decision-making processes. And, you know, an example of that is like when you see like really successful people who tend to have, you know, very minimalistic aspects of their life. Like just as an example, Steve Jobs. I know that his wardrobe, he had a very minimal approach with his wardrobe. And something that I came across somewhere said that the idea behind that, or the thought or the belief of that is that you have a set amount of energy each day for decision making. And it's just like, as an example, for me, myself as a recovering hoarder, when I would go to tackle my closet to declutter and get rid of stuff, I would start off strong. I'd have lots of energy. But if I'd go through item by item, by the time I'd get to the like 15th item and I had to make a 15th decision, by that time I'd start feeling worn out. I had lost my energy, my drive, my motivation. And so I learned that I would dedicate an allotted amount of time, like, okay, I'm going to give an hour to decluttering today. And once that hour is up and once I start feeling fatigued and tired, I'm going to let it go. And I'm going to do it again another day. Because I knew that at the point when I lost that energy for decision making, I was no longer effective. I was no longer making good choices and getting done what I needed to get done. So going back to Steve Jobs, you know, like there's a lot of successful people out there who apply a lot of minimalistic techniques to their life for that reason, because they want to conserve that energy, that decision-making ability for the bigger things in life and not wear themselves down with those other meaningless things. So I just think it's interesting when you recognize just how much the subconscious mind actually plays. How many of you have been driving and you go through a light and you say to yourself, oh shoot, was that light red? I didn't just go through a red light, did I? Or you arrive at a destination and you don't quite really remember exactly how you got there. I think that when we recognize and understand that our subconscious mind plays a lot bigger role than we even realize, then the question becomes, well, how do I create more awareness? How do I not go through life in zombie mode? And that comes from developing that sense of awareness through awareness practices, meditation, slowing down long enough to really assess and evaluate a situation. Like, okay, I'm feeling frustrated about this and I don't really know why. So give yourself a minute to sit and think and analyze. What is driving these feelings? Where are these feelings coming from? And so when we are able to develop that awareness and we do begin to see and experience that sense of symbiosis from within, you really can start to make changes and tackle, or at least strategize how you can improve your daily habitual behaviors. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite Jim Rohn quotes. It says, "The only way it gets better for you is when you get better. Better is not something you wish for, it's something you have to become." So what I'd like to leave you guys with is to just say, create a life that you're excited for, that you want to wake up every day to. I hope you guys are all well, and I hope you guys have a great day.